You have heard this legend, a maze, a monster, a hero, but you were told the children's version, a story to tell before bed. Tonight, we uncover the truth, the full, unvarnished story, the forbidden lust, the divine betrayal, and the grotesque brutality of the Minotaur. Our story begins on the island of Crete, ruled by King Minos. He was a man of immense power, his influence stretching across the entire Aegean. But he was a man of crushing pride, a man who believed himself equal, perhaps even superior to the gods themselves. His claim to the throne was not absolute. When his stepfather, King Asterion, died, a bitter dispute erupted between Minos and his brothers. To prove his divine right to rule, Minos made a public spectacle. He prayed to the great god of the sea, Poseidon. He cried out for a sign. "Send me a bull from the sea," he vowed, "a sign of your favor, and I will sacrifice it in your glorious name." Poseidon heard, and from the churning foam he sent his sign, a creature of impossible beauty, a magnificent white bull, its hide like snow, its horns like polished silver. The people saw a blessing from a god. King Minos saw a prize. The king's hubris and his greed consumed him. He could not bear to kill such a perfect creature. And so the king broke his sacred oath. He hid the divine bull among his herds and sacrificed a common animal in its place. He believed a god could be tricked, but you do not lie to the god of the sea. Poseidon's fury was deep. His vengeance would be poetic. It would be grotesque. Poseidon did not strike Minos down. Instead, he called upon Aphrodite, the goddess of love and of lust. The punishment would not be for Minos, but for his wife, the proud, beautiful queen, Pasiphae. Aphrodite, who loved to play with the hearts of mortals, agreed. She inflicted Pasiphae with an unspeakable, unnatural, and all-consuming desire. She became obsessed with the divine bull. The queen's life became a living nightmare. She, the daughter of the sun, was consumed by a profane shadow. She fought it, she prayed, but the curse of a goddess is stronger than the will of a mortal. She was driven mad by a lust she could not control. Driven to the edge of insanity, she summoned the royal artisan, Daedalus, the greatest inventor in the world. Daedalus, the man who could build anything. But the queen's request, it horrified him. He knew it was monstrous, but to refuse the queen was to accept a death sentence. And so the master built a wooden cow, hollow inside, so perfect It could fool an animal. And so the unspeakable was done. The queen, hidden within the machine, fulfilled her monstrous desire. The curse was complete. The consequences were inevitable. Months later, the queen gave birth. It was an abomination. The body of a man, the head of a beast. They named him Asterion, but the world would come to know him as the Minotaur, the bull of Minos. Minos, looking at the creature, finally understood. This was not just a monster. This was his shame. This was Poseidon's vengeance, given flesh. He could not kill it, for it was born of a god's will, but he could not let it be seen, for his pride could not bear it. Once more, the king summoned Daedalus. The artisan who had enabled the sin would now be forced to entomb it. Minos commanded him to build an impossible prison, a structure of pure chaos, a maze so vast, so cunning, that even its creator could barely find the exit, the Labyrinth. Here, Minos locked away his sin, hiding the monster and his family's grotesque secret from the world. He believed his nightmare was over, but the gods were not finished with him. Tragedy struck again. His beloved human son, Androgeos, was in Athens for the games. He won everything. The jealousy of the Athenians cost him his life. Minos' grief was bottomless. His fury was biblical. He raised the unstoppable Cretan fleet. He declared war on Athens. Athens stood no chance. Starving, broken, they begged for peace. And Minos, his heart turned to stone, gave them his terms. A cruel, cold, terrible price. Every 9 years, Athens must send a tribute, 7 young men and 7 young women to be sacrificed. They were not to be killed by Minos' sword. They were to be fed to the monster in the maze. The labyrinth is sealed, but the horror has just begun. Subscribe to the Lore Machine, and thanks for watching.